Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm here with Olga, which heads up the conference events for AIBC. How are you doing today?
Hi, good. Thanks for having me.
No worries, you're one of my favorite people in crypto. We had some good time in Hamburg for the conference, which was amazing, blockchains. And now you're back in traveling. I think you just came back from the Philippines.
Yes, we just came back from Asia. We hosted a big international summit in Philippines in Manila. It was a total blast, I have to say. Asia is something different, and the vibe is totally different. I really enjoyed the Filipino crowd, and it was so good. We're on to the next one. We're moving to the different part of the world with the IBC, where I host conferences, and we're going to Europe and Balkans so soon.
But hey, before we dive into the fantastic world of AIBC, do you mind to give us an intro and tell us about yourself?
I am a journalist by background and by education, and I'm a PhD in a very particular, linguistics stuff. I don't even want to touch that. But I've been a journalist all my life, and then I accidentally found myself in the world of blockchain back in 2017 when Bitcoin first surprised us with all its magic capabilities. And I've been in the conference organization and events organizing since 2018. So it's a long journey, yes. And I'm before joining IBC, I had been with a company called Exchange Group, and we hosted big events in Hong Kong, in Asia, and then in Dubai for several years, focusing on blockchain, fintech, metaverse, Web3. And then I joined AIBC, and we're pretty much doing the same thing. We're spreading the word about blockchain technology, AI, Web3, marketing solutions for Web3 people, about crypto, of course, and digital assets and regulatory efforts in different parts of the world. So I think I perceive myself as as an editor of a very big international magazine about blockchain and AI and crypto. And it's my goal to tell people as many things as we can about the industry and bring together the brightest minds of many industries, not only blockchain and AI and crypto, but there are so many related industries. There are so many interesting things happening in, I don't know, insurtech, ad tech, martech, so many exciting stuff. So I guess I'm a proponent of a digital innovation in different parts of the world, and bringing people together from many countries, telling amazing stories about technology is what I do. I also host conferences. I'm MC, a moderator, since I've been a journalist for so many years, and I worked at TV stations and magazines. So it's a very natural transition, and I have a lot to say to people that have been in the media for many years, and now with all the digital media, revolutionizing the world of traditional media. And I think we media people have a very particular, very much needed skills for this type of market, right? So that's my journey. I'm with the IBC now. We host 6 events a year. We do big international summits in Asia, in Europe, in Dubai. We also host events we hosted an event in Brazil, and then we go to Africa in January. So it's lots of exciting stuff happening.
Amazing. And I was about to say, the panel in Hamburg you hosted with, Da Vinci, Carl, Crypto, Chris, Andres, Mende, a lot of good people in there. It was one of my favorite. You did a fantastic job. And I wonder, for someone like you who travels so much and you have those experiences in between Europe, Asia, US, South America, where do you see this market going? Because at the minute, the US has been super strict. The SEC is suing left and right, and whether Hong Kong is opening to retail, and how do you feel about it?
Interesting. I used to live in the US for several years, by the way. And then I was an East Coast girl. I lived in New York and DC, but I had no idea about even Bitcoin back then. So I only learned about that when I moved back to that side of the pond. I think I just remember the words of some of my friends and panelists on that panel in Hamburg that you just mentioned. And I think it all comes down to, if it's a matter of regulation, I think we're in a very early stage of a global regulatory effort. I think every country will be trying to push their own stuff and their own efforts, and will show a particular attitude towards the crypto business, if we're talking about crypto, not just tech related stuff. But US is being harsh, but then it's not necessary to open up your business in the US or to operate in the US. There's Dubai, there is Hong Kong, and there are so many crypto friendly jurisdictions. There is Europe, we have like Switzerland, right? And we have Estonia, where I don't know, 60% of people's lives is digitized. So there's always a choice, and the world is your playground, I guess. Yes, regulators pushing and not being nice to very big exchanges is a very bad sign for the market, and I think everyone is upset. But then again, there are ways to go sideways. It's a decentralized technology after all.
Yeah, I agree. And also history showed that when you try to block something or, ban something, it doesn't really work, especially like you said, nowadays in 2023, you can simply move and go where people treat you the best. Like you said, you have the UAE, you have El Salvador, where, Bitcoin is a legal tender. You have so many different places where you can go, where people are more friendly. And I think if the US is not careful, they might lose a lot of talents, because that's what happens, right? Like people are gonna go where they're treated the best. So it's going to be interesting to see how things are gonna shuffle.
I was lucky to get on my stage in Manila just 2 weeks ago. The SEC Commissioner of Philippines, Mr. Calvin Lastrelli, he was there, and he was very comfortable being on stage, and he was encouraging people to ask him questions. So he sat there on a panel discussion, and he was like, okay, does anybody have any questions? And so that's a very particular and very useful thing that a regulator can do, with add a conference that is dedicated somehow to digital assets or the crypto or the blockchain. Just, I think the most important thing that a regulator can do is just to sit down with people from the industry, with business owners, and ask them very particular questions. Said like, okay, guys, what can we do to work together? What can we do to protect people and to make the ecosystem and the industry grow and flourish, and to make it, beneficial for everybody, for regular investors, for retail investors, for institutional investors. How can we, benefit from the technology? But I think banning, big exchanges is not a very very friendly way. And I don't know if they ever sat down with Brian Armstrong or with CZ. I don't think so.
I also agree, like you said, there is a lot of institutions waiting for regulations. No one wants to touch unregulated, assets at the minute, I believe. And I also think regulations are not necessarily bad, if they can find an agreement and say, okay, those, now there is this huge debate about securities, commodities, whatever, let them talk through this, let them settle some rules. And then I believe institutions are going to feel more comfortable in saying, okay, now that there is an agreement, we now want to invest so and so. It's going to be definitely interesting to see how things are going to move. How about AIBC? Because I know there are a bunch of interesting conferences happening. You just finished Manila.
Manila was absolutely fantastic. And there is a certain friendly stance towards digital assets in Philippines as well, and in that region in particular. And as you mentioned, Hong Kong, I think, is trying to be the number one hub for digital asset. It has always been a very friendly jurisdiction for that. And I would say, in my experience, it is mostly fintech oriented, right? But then again, they issue licenses for crypto or digital asset exchanges. Asset tokenization is a big thing there. And then we have Singapore, and then we have MAS also issuing licenses. And then we have Dubai issuing licenses. I mean, the more licenses, the better, isn't it? So as you can see from the schedule that we have at AIBC, we travel to a very blockchain-friendly jurisdictions. So our next stop is Limassol, Cyprus. Cyprus is known for a very friendly policy towards DLT and blockchain applications, like in general. And we will have a lot of people, by the way, from the these like the sector of licensing, which is also interesting. And we will have a lot of crypto people because some of the crypto companies are actually based there. We'll talk about AI and Web3. That game is also very strong there. So Limassol, everybody's welcome. We have the conference happening on September 5th and 6th. It's a beautiful place, beautiful weather. We're going to be at the City of Dreams. It's a huge resort with casinos, and it's going to be a blast. So anyone who wants to attend, you can apply to be a speaker or attendee, or send us a message for, I don't know, ticket discounts maybe. So I'll hope to see you there. It's an event that traditionally covers the region of CIS and Balkans. And the next stop is our big international event, which is Malta. AIBC, and Malta is a hometown for Sigma and AIBC, and Sigma is a twin sister and brother for AIBC, as many of you probably know. So yes, AIBC Europe, oh my God, a fantastic, huge event. It's a 3-day conference. We will have a huge venue, and over 30,000 people are expected there.
Wow.
Yes, I'm not mistaken. Trust me. And we will have a fantastic agenda there for both Sigma and ABC. So make sure not to miss it. But honestly, I was, even before I joined the team, I attended several events for AIBC in Malta and then in Dubai. And it was honestly one of my favorite conferences so far because of the crowd, because of the quality of people attending it. After Malta, the next big international event is Dubai, and I really hope that your Dubai audience and viewers from Dubai will join us. It's the end of February. This time, not so hot in Dubai this time, as far as I remember.
Yeah, exactly.
Better than in, let's say, May or April. So yes, I'll see you there in Dubai. Definitely, if anyone wants to be a speaker, if anyone knows a fantastic speaker in the region, or if anyone wants to join us for AIBC in Dubai or in Cyprus or in Malta, just let me know. We're always open to new connections and new collaborations here.
Yeah, fantastic. And by the way, I couldn't agree more with you. I've been in a bunch of AIBC conferences, amazing. And by the way, Da Vinci was in Malta last year and he came back saying it was amazing. So yeah, you can see the quality of the speaker, Gary V, again, Da Vinci, Andres, some really, really good people there. So super looking forward to this for sure.
Yeah, it'll be lots of fun. So yeah, make sure to be there. We're going to have a regional event in Africa in January.
Wow.
It's totally different market. It's so interesting. I once hosted Africa Blockchain Week. It was during COVID. It was a virtual conference, but we hosted a big event together with the African Union. It's a intergovernmental organization pushing blockchain and crypto adoption in so many countries. And there's so many interesting things happening there. Like, I don't know, Nigeria, I think it's one of the biggest markets out there in terms of crypto adoption. The DeFi game is still so strong. They have been implementing CBDCs, and the crypto adoption, it's still very controversial in terms of regulation, of course, but then it's so interesting, really. The next stop after Africa, we're going to Dubai. After Dubai is the Latin America. We're going back to, I think, Brazil, and crowd is very different in every country and in every part of the world, and it has a very different flavor, but very unique.
Yeah, I was about to say, in some places maybe where, their currency is devaluing really, really bad, I think people are maybe more interested in understanding how to preserve their wealth, right? So, for example, in Turkey, I was reading like inflation has gone to 90%. I mean, interesting, like you said, to see how those conferences are going to reflect a national vibe. I don't know if I can say it, but they're going to reflect what people actually feel about it. And in some other parts, maybe gaming is going to be stronger than others. In other parts, fintech. It's fascinating to see how technology moves in different ways, for sure. Think about Axie Infinity when it came out, in the Philippines was one of the most played because, they could make a living with the money that the game was providing. There's people that their job was to play Axie Infinity. So I think the percentage of people playing from Philippines was extremely higher as opposed to people in the US. Because, in some countries with $20 a day, you can live very well. In other countries, $20 a day, they buy you maybe a coffee or a Starbucks coffee. So it's very different. It's very interesting.
It is.
Is there one particular place that you enjoy going back more than others?
I have to be honest, it's Dubai, because I've been doing events in Dubai for the past 3 years, I think. And we hosted events on metaverse and Web3, very specific, and then on blockchain, and then gaming conference. So Dubai crowd is my favorite because everyone is very energetic, and I think one of the greatest qualities for people in our industry is curiosity. And Dubai is so curious about everything new. And we have like people from, we have investors walking around asking questions, trying to find new projects and new people. And we have so many people moving into Dubai because there are business opportunities there, because local regulators are happy to provide them with licenses, bank accounts, even office spaces, which is fantastic, right? And this is how you create a hub, an ecosystem. And Dubai is very curious, right? There are countries, I think, and regulators that are being cautious. And I think Europe, no offense, but I think Europe is kind of cautious, right? And they're like, okay, let's see what we have here, right? They're very proud of the things that they have achieved and that they have done for over the years, which is very good too. But Dubai is super hungry for something new. They're hungry for new games, like new projects, new stuff happening in AI, in Web3. I don't know, new communities. So hungry, really. And it really impresses me every time, because I hosted events in Dubai every, I don't know, every 4 to 6 months, and it's always a different crowd. There are always like different speakers, new projects, and we're like, wow, really, it's been just like 4 or 6 months and there's so many new things. So yeah, I think Dubai is my favorite.
Yeah, super well said. I also agree with you. I think Dubai is super interesting because if you think about it, it's 50 years old. Like it's super new. Like the city is basically a baby, right? It's a baby. The amount of expat and foreigner in Dubai is really high. I think there is like a 2 or 3% of people born in here in the region, and like 90 something percent is expat. So you have a lot of people coming from all over Europe, US, everywhere, Asia. It's kind of interesting.
When you're in Dubai, you say like, where are you from? And if someone says, I'm from Dubai, I'm like, come on, no one is from Dubai.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, you're
Exactly.
just enjoying like the local culture.
Exactly. And I think, to be honest, like you said, the VARA, which is the authority who's regulating cryptocurrencies in here, they've been super smart. I don't just say VARA, probably the entire, Emirates. They've said, you know what, crypto is a new asset. We have, people haven't decided what they want to do with it. Let's be open to it. Let's invite entrepreneurs. Let's invite people that want to build stuff. Let's invite people they have crypto in their portfolio. Let's be friendly with taxation. And they kind of created automatically an ecosystem where you have a lot of people, they are pro-crypto, crypto-friendly. For example, I paid my dentist in crypto, which is insane if you think about it. In London, where I lived most of my life, there's no way that I would have paid my dentist in Bitcoin or in stablecoin. So
You see, I would love to pay in stable coins anywhere, because again, I'm from Russia, and we've been unfortunately experiencing a lot of financial problems internationally, I would say, especially when traveling. And I know that crypto saved so many people, and it's a great decision it's a great tool, right, for us to also use. And thank God there are places like Dubai where you can pay your dentist in crypto, And then again, stable coins. Oh, by the way, PayPal understand their own stable coin.
I was about to say they announced their stablecoin. Take a snapshot of what's happening at the minute. So you have PayPal launching their stablecoin, and you have Revolut, which is blocking all crypto actions. You can't, from September 2nd, so in about a couple of weeks, you won't be able to buy cryptos or move cryptos. And from October, you have to move out everything or you lose everything. So very interesting how different companies in the same, PayPal is an American company at the end of the day. They're choosing very different strategies. So interesting. And if the US is going to keep, my personal opinion here, no financial advice as always, but if the US is going to keep cracking down on regulation, well, guess what? PayPal is going to move. Many other companies have done. Coinbase, the CEO was saying we are exploring talking to the UK, talking to the UAE. I mean, if you don't treat the company well, they can pack and go somewhere else, especially like you said, nowadays where digital is on everything we do pretty much. It's going to be super interesting, in my opinion, to see where regulations are going. So it could be, maybe, I know I'm just throwing out there food for thought, but it could be that US is kind of negative towards the crypto because they want to build their own presence with the digital dollar. Then maybe they'll go, okay, well, now that we have our own product, it's not too bad. I strongly refuse to believe that people in 2023, they want to go against digital, because that will be, for me, it would be suicide. But I don't know, maybe I'm just too bullish on the market. But like you said, if someone closes the door, another one opens it. So
Exactly. Yes. The more you try to put restrictions on your own country, the more isolated it gets in terms of, digital innovation. But still, again, we're in very early stage, and we'll see about that. Honestly, like stable coins and CBDCs have always been on my agenda as I'm building the conference agenda, because I think even though it's a little bit boring comparing to the the roller coaster of the crypto market and the NFT market and all that coins popping up all the time and pump and dump and stuff, of course it's a little boring, but then again, it's something that is actually being built on top of an existing financial system, right? You cannot get rid of a traditional financial system so far, and you will never get rid of that. And I think that like DeFi and CeFi will coexist together at some point, but there have to be ways for them to coexist and collaborate. And CBDCs or stablecoins are one of the wormholes in between DeFi and CeFi. And this is actually very interesting. I don't know how it will be implemented and actually used after all, because there are people from the world of decentralization saying like, okay, CBDCs are just another way for banks to control their users. But then again, why not? In China, there's a blockchain service network, BSN, and I had a pleasure to work with them as well. So they are building a blockchain on top of which Chinese companies are able to build their own applications. I mean, you can of course use Ethereum like PayPal did right now, right? But then again, blockchain networks tend to get slow, congested. Fees are getting ridiculously high. You have to create multiple layers of different blockchains just to get through the congestion and stuff. Then again, you can create your own blockchain. What is so wrong with that? Everyone still controls our data if we're citizens of a particular country. If we go to the doctor, and if if medical records or in-house records are digitized, we're still there, and everyone still owns our data. It all comes down to people conveniently using a financial system, whether it's traditional or decentralized or combined, right? Or both. So honestly, I think for many countries, it's a great decision. Let's say if I remember when hosting back again Africa Blockchain Week, we had a Standard Chartered Bank from South Africa, and they were implementing their own CBDC project back then. For Africa, it is very important, because in countries where there's no internet infrastructure, some cities or villages, they don't have bank branches, and you need access to a financial system. How do you get that access? You get an access to a digital currency. You get access to digital banking. That's why Revolut is so cool and big. And I don't know, everything is digitizing. Exactly. But then again, there are financial applications of virtual currencies and decentralized finance. And there are non-financial applications actually using the same technology, but it may change people's lives for good, and it's been doing it. So there are so many use cases, like, I don't know, digital IDs or supply chains based on blockchain. This is one of the most fantastic use cases, I think, and it's actually working, right? And then there's, by the way, in Dubai, one of my favorite projects so far, and I've been inviting them for my conferences in Dubai all the time. UAE Trade Connect is one of it's the only use case for a blockchain-based trade finance platform, right? And they have like, I don't know, last time we met in March, I think they had like 11 or 12 banks on board, actual, banks from all the Emirates. They had Dubai Customs on board, and the representative of Dubai Customs was on my stage back in 2021. And there are so many ways to utilize that technology. Maybe not for the sake of earning fast money or getting fast cash, but for making your life more convenient and making services more convenient. I think there are so many cool use cases out there.
It reminds me back in the days when internet was kind of laid their foundation where, I remember I used to work into a design agency. We used to, try and sell services to basically people in Italy, which is where I was born. And nobody wanted to buy anything on internet. They were like, no, I buy stuff on television. I
Right.
buy ads on newspaper. I don't need an email address. I have my post. What's this thing for? Again, because back in the 90s, there was no infrastructure. We just had the technology to post a gazillion of different things. Now, fast forward 10, 15 years, boom, now you have everything with your phone in your pocket. You are always connected. Now it becomes much easier for people to understand how powerful social medias are, how powerful it is to keep your bank in your phone and in your pocket and having your friends in WhatsApp or whatever apps that you use, the Apple Store. Now everything out of a sudden makes sense. But it took 20 years of developing, of companies and entrepreneur building on top of each other, exactly like you said. And I feel like where we are now with the blockchain, there's people laying down the foundation. Think about Cardano, what he's doing in Africa, digital IDs, those things you mentioned, amazing. But it's very early and people don't understand because there is nothing besides some of us that we invested some time in study and do some research. We only have the foundations, and now you can see companies starting to build on top of each other. And as we know, technology is exponential. So in 5 or 10 years, it's going to go so much faster, and we will have access to everything. CBDCs, technologies. Your bank is gonna accept stablecoin. Boom, which means you're already in. You will play a game, you will own the asset. You will play a game and make money. So all those things are going to become, I believe, in the next 10, 15 years, part of our lives. And then we are going to have a coffee and think about, remember when you used to play games and you didn't own the assets? Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
As much as now. Remember when I was a kid and I used to phone someone, I had to physically put the number in. I had to remember the number,
Not only buttons.
the dial-up thing. But the most funny thing is, but the person who was getting the call didn't know who was calling them. It was like, hello, who's this? Because there was no way to figure it out who was
Never
calling
knew
you.
if that person would be home or not, and you're like, just calling.
Exactly. But try to explain now, take a young person who has a cell phone and say, hey, in my days, which wasn't even a long time ago, I'm talking about 40 years ago, in my days, I didn't even know who was calling me and I had to remember their phone numbers. I mean,
And
if you
remember phone number. Exactly. Yes. So many phone numbers. Totally did. My kid is 11, and he knows about games a lot more than I do, of course. Even though, I'm hosting gaming conferences as well. He knows so much stuff about that, and they have a totally different mindset. And one of the greatest things about that is that they can change, that their mind can change and adapt so fast, like so quick. It sometimes takes me like, I need to study that subject for a week or two to figure out how that works. And they would just like, okay, I know how it works, whatever, give me, thank you, next. So they're like, it's a totally, their brain works differently, and they're so lucky. And I'm very excited to see what's going to happen in another 20 years. 20 years is not that long. It took humanity like 100 years to go to a certain technological level, honestly. And thank God we're here. And thank God it's our century is so fast evolving. So, and technology is so cool. I get that a lot of people are getting scared, especially that AI is evolving very, so fast. And but I'll tell you the truth, it's not that fast.
yeah,
Really. Machine learning takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort, and this industry really lacks talents and people that actually know machine learning are in on high demand, and it's not happening that fast. But it's just with the adoption level, everyone's like, oh my god, is ChatGPT going to take our like work, and robots are going to take my place, and I'm going is it going to take my job? Maybe not really. But again, it's like it's what happened with I'm a journalist, so I can refer to this, like people from traditional media and have worked at a TV station, very old school. We had like all those huge cameras and wired microphones, and we were going like lives and stuff. So it was very old school, and I worked there. But then again, all of a sudden, everyone is a TV star. Everyone has their own platform. You can get your own, I don't know, blog or a YouTube channel or podcast, and there are so many platforms for you to be your own TV star. So, and it would take people from traditional media to switch to a different mindset, to a new reality where a content creation is not something exclusive, right? And if you work at a TV station, you're actually old school, you're a dinosaur. You don't possess that uniqueness of a platform anymore. And for them to for us, okay, for us to get that new skills and to utilize our old school skills to a new industry is so important. And the same thing will happen to everything else, right? If you never used or never heard about AI and you never thought it would be useful in your work or in your job, now it's time to understand that. Now it's time to dig deeper, and now it's time to just keep up. So you have to be quick. You gotta be quick. You can't be a dinosaur anymore. No. And it's the reality. And thank God it's the technology leaders, and it's people who there are people who like drive digital innovation, and they drive so fast. Oh my God, we gotta keep up. But it's good. I think that's the overall, you know, development. It makes us evolve. It makes our brain work. It makes us think about our business structure all the time. It makes us think about our personal skills all the time. Like, will I be useful in the new world, right? And so I think it's time to be useful.
I completely agree with you. I mean, if you think about any technology when it was introduced, from the car to the computer to whatever you want to name, has been always labeled as, oh my God, everything is over. I mean, I'm not scared about AI, not even a bit. I think it's going to help our productivity. It's going to be part of our quotidianity. Yes. It's going to improve our ecosystems surrounding us. Yes. It's going to create a new generation of artists. It's going to create new things for us to work on. And just because AI can create images and 3D and whatever you want, that doesn't make you someone capable of doing those kind of things. You still have to talk to the AI and say, create these things. So you have to fed the AI with some information, which means you need experience. And we go back to square one. Instead of being afraid, I think we should, exactly like you said, learn how to use it in our daily routine or even in our professional life, because it's going to make our life easier for sure. It's going to improve certain things. It's going to disrupt certain others. It's going to create new jobs. It's going to create new opportunities. So yeah, it's going to be super interesting to see where we are going. Like you said, AI is not a new thing. It's been around for years. So
there are some things that I'm worried about, honestly. Like, I'm a creative worker, and I always do lots of copywriting, and I've been a writer like for brands and for brand storytelling as well. So I mean, I do lots of that creative stuff. I don't think AI will or should replace creative workers, because like for example, I just read in my newsfeed this morning that one of the guys that I know, he owns a marketing agency, and he said that they just introduced an AI based service for their marketing services. So let's say you can request an social media SMM assistance, which is AI based, and it's cheaper than you can actually hire an SMM specialist. I'm curious about the quality. I mean, the tool is so cool, and there are so many brands. Let's say mini brands or small brands that don't have a budget to hire a whole new person to run their SMM campaign, they would utilize the AI for that. The quality will probably be as good as it was a junior SML specialist, right? Most probably. But then again, I think specifically for creating texts and creating stories, specifically for creative writing, I don't think we should use AI, honestly, because I am so, but it's just something that, something that just runs around my head all the time because I'm being very specific. I'm a bookworm, right? I'm a literature nerd, and I'm so obsessed with the quality of creative language in different texts, in big formats and in small formats, and in the storytelling, because it's so important. I'm not sure AI is creative enough, to replace us creative workers. For some everyday routine tasks, yes, of course. For a routine everyday SMM jobs, yes, please, let's do it. But then again, where would SMM people learn? Where would they gain their experience? We should talk about at one of my next conferences when talking about AI, because AI and creative workers, it's is this a marriage or a divorce? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think it's going to be one of those tools you have in your belt. For example, it could be an interesting one to draft. For example, if you want to write about something, you could ask AI to draft a bunch of ideas. Then you can take the idea with your experience and creativity and form the idea. But I also think we will see soon some sort of a label on posts or whatever that says it
Oh,
was
yeah.
AI.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It's like some sort of a handmade in Italy or handmade in whatever, France. So that gives a little bit of a label saying, well, this was handmade, as opposed to this was created by AI. There's going to be a ton of applications, like you said, for people maybe you don't have a budget or they don't have the experience. But I think if you are an expert into something, you'll be able to understand if that was created by someone or something. And I also do believe, like you said, being a creative myself, there is a difference between being a machine and being a human. And even with the old technology on the entire planet, I don't think you can entirely yet, maybe one day, replace our, way to contribute into writing, painting, and all those things. Yeah, when it comes to precision and all those things, of course, it will be competitive, or harvesting, or all those tasks, they require repetition. It will be perfect. But if you think about it already, machines have a huge amount. If you go into any establishment, it could be Amazon or anything, warehouse, there's a lot of computing and droids already there anyway.
And after all, it's us who teach the machines, right? So and I think creative component is the only thing that they lack so far, but it's very exciting. I think, by the way, it's a good point that those creative pieces should be labeled somehow, and I think probably that would be one of the part of AI regulation, which is a hot topic these days as well. I mean, should it be regulated? Should it not be regulated? How do we, to which extent it should be regulated? So yeah.
I think it's possible where at some point you will have a bunch of services, and those services will say they are AI generated entirely. So let's say I need a suit, for an event, my wedding, whatever, a ceremony, you name it. I can choose so many different options. I can go to a tailor and he or she can measure me. I can choose the material, choose the buttons, choose everything, the design of the suit, which is going to be the most expensive hand of a suit making. But I can also go down to a cheap shop and buy something who was made for a generic size person. So I think we'll have the same kind of rail of services where I can go and buy something super cheap, which is generated by some sort of a whatever AI, or I can go and talk to someone who can then help me with legal counsel, or we will see them for sure part of our choice of options, I think. Olga, honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the channel. Thank you so much. I enjoyed our conversation a lot.
Yes, me too. It's a great pleasure, and it's always cool to talk about technology. Thanks so much for having me. Hopefully, looking forward to seeing you in Dubai. Thanks, everyone. Check out our website for AIBC.world for cool events coming up this year and next year as well. Ping me on Instagram, LinkedIn, if you want to participate or if you want to just talk about AI and creative workers. or about crypto where we have some interesting story to share. Thank you.
Fantastic. I will make sure to link in the comments down below all your social media. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Olga, thanks again, and I will see you soon.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.